Hello again, everyone. Marcus here. I review stuff, and let me just say, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm bad about finishing albums. So often I'll hear a single song that I like, and I'll only ever add that one song to my playlist and listen to it for the rest of time. It's very rare that I decide to explore an album further after hearing a song from an artist, and so I'm looking to change that, which is why I've really been making an effort to finish all the albums on my playlist. And so I've taken pretty much all of my albums, I've thrown them on this wheel, and every day I give it a spin to see what I'm listening to. And today the wheel decided I'm listening to the Beastie Boys' Ill Communication. You know, I've never really been the biggest fan of the Beastie Boys, and so when the wheel picked this one, I was like, I wasn't super excited to listen to it, but as I got into it, that feeling changed a little bit. There were quite a few songs that I really did enjoy off this album. I do feel like maybe the album itself was a little bit too long for my taste. I know some of you are going to disagree with me there, but I just felt like this review took a long time to make because first I had to convince myself to sit down and really listen to every single song and really pick through it with a fine-toothed comb. And it was just a long album. There were a lot of songs on this one. Some of them were really great, and I'm going to talk about those here in a minute, but some of them I felt like, maybe we could put this on a different album or skip them all together. I don't know. So needless to say, it definitely wasn't my favorite album that we've reviewed so far, but again, there was a lot to really enjoy off of it. So if you'll allow me, I'd like to just touch on a few of the songs that I really, really enjoyed on my listen through this album. The first one was Sure Shot. I really enjoy the instrumentals and the beat from that song. That flute throughout is just super catchy, and the rapping itself I think is really fun. I think it's one of those songs that made me go, okay, maybe I do like the Beastie Boys, right? And it really came across as again being a very fun song, something that I'm like, okay, I listen to the Beastie Boys because they're fun, right? It was one of those that sort of informed the way that I want to approach their music. In a similar vein, Root Down was a very enjoyable listen for me as well. It had fun instrumentation with the keyboard. It had again a really good bass line, really good beat, and that repetition of like, I put my root down and get my root down or whatever, like that was really fun and super catchy. In fact, I found that kind of on repeat in my head today, knowing that I was going to sort of record this review. I'm like, okay, yeah, like that's in my head. It's a good song. So
How you wanna kick it? Gonna kick it root down. So how you gonna kick it? Gonna kick it root down. Gonna break it all down. Gonna kick it root down. I put down, I put my foot down, and then I make some love. I put my root down. I'm like sweetie pie by the stone and like it.
Sabotage was the one song from this album that I knew coming into the album. It is obviously more rock than it is hip hop. It's heavy, it's guitar driven, and I do kind of like that about the song. And I think what I learned throughout this listen is that I kind of went in expecting more Sabotage and got instead kind of more hip hop and rap, right? Which I definitely didn't mind. It, I think, goes to show that Beastie Boys can be a little bit more versatile, which I really liked. Get It Together was another fun one. I thought it was fun that they, said the line "ill communication," and it's a fun song with good hip hop and rap styling throughout. And I think ultimately it represents a lot of what I appreciated about this album. Again, just fun and kind of good and catchy rap. The next one that I count amongst my favorites was Do It. I think it had nice guitar work. It had a really nice beat. The sort of alternating rapping vocals, the different rappers kind of alternating their bars, I thought was really enjoyable. And again, kind of something that I had, I think, come to expect from the Beastie Boys, and I feel like I hadn't heard it as much until this point in the album. And then even some changing beats I thought kept this song kind of a little bit more fresh, than some of the other ones. Heart Attack Man was interesting too because it was, faster. It was more rock oriented as well. So it is kind of interesting because again, a lot of the album sort of channels this classic hip hop styling, but every so often you get kind of like a rock song in there, and it's like, okay, this is a nice change of pace, I think. I thought The Scoop was also a really cool song. It just was really, really groovy, and I really dug that about it. The drum sample was great. The record scratching that you kind of got throughout was fun. It's just a fun song, and I think that encapsulates a lot of how I feel about a lot of these songs. It's fun, which I think, there's room in my playlist for fun. There certainly is. And then the last one I wanted to mention was just Transitions. It's a real chill beat, really just a great way to sort of wrap up the album. It kind of left me feeling pretty good about the overall experience. But with that, again, that was maybe 8 songs out of, I don't even remember how many. My brain's telling me like 20 songs on this album. And so, again, I felt like some of them were either just okay, or some of the songs I mentioned were just kind of like, all right, it's instrumental. I've never really been the biggest fan of instrumental music personally. I know some people only listen to instrumental stuff. It's a thing of tastes, and for me, I don't really care for instrumentals. So some of the beats and things were like, okay, that's a cool beat, but it just doesn't do anything for me. I want a little bit of hip hop. I want some rap. I want maybe even some rock vocals. I want something to go along with it, right? So I think overall, again, the album was just a little bit too long for me. But there were a good number of songs that were catchy, that were fun to listen to, that had really interesting beats and musicianship. And so overall, I think it was an enjoyable album, and I'm having a hard time rating it. When I think about some of the albums I've given a 5 out of 5 to, really I've liked those albums from start to finish. Or if I didn't like it from start to finish, there was only 1 or maybe 2 songs that I didn't absolutely love. But I think of those 5 out of 5 albums as being albums that have really no weak songs, no songs that I dislike, at least. There are some that I love, there are some that I like, but there's nothing that I disliked. I think with this album, there were just so few that I loved. There were a good number that I liked, and there were even some that, honestly, to me, were just instantly forgettable. So I don't feel comfortable rating this like a 4 or 5 out of 5. To me, I think this sits more comfortably around a 2.5 stars out of 5, personally. And again, I know that's probably an unpopular opinion. I know Beastie Boys are a huge band, very well loved and received. And honestly, I have nothing against them as artists. Just album, I don't think this album was for me overall. So anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know how you feel about this album in the comments, whether you love it, hate it, or somewhere in between. As always, if you enjoy the music, you should definitely keep listening to Ill Communication by the Beastie Boys. There's a lot of good songs on it. If you enjoyed what you saw here on the channel today, whether you agree with my opinion or not, you can consider, subscribing and liking and commenting, all that stuff that you normally do for your favorite YouTube channels. You can even check the description if you'd like to follow me on Twitch, TikTok, or Instagram. Alright guys, that's going to be it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.